I've got a shuffle going on here, and I'm like, they're trying, like, who's answering the question? And like, someone's walking around in slippers. I don't know who that is. My goodness me. Like, I can feel their feet, and I can hear their feet shuffling around. Okay, thank you. You've spoken before of heaven and hell, and where is heaven and hell, or the differences. Thank you. And they just said it's interesting. And also you asked the question about the 3D, the 5D, and you said about the split, the shift that we're having in the energy on the planet right now. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. And also the parallel and the multiverse. The multiverse. They said the multiverse. You are part of the multiverse. Of course, you're part of the multiverse. Each and every one of you are part of the multiverse. Of course you are. How exciting. Good question. We love this. Yes, we do indeed. Yes, we like this. Very good. Very good. Someone who's asking a question. Good. Excellent. Let's go with this. Okay. The multiverse. Of course, you see, the mind has to shift. The mind is split into some degree. The intelligence, the information that each of you are programming, and each of you are discovering more information. It is down to each and every one of you. You see, your brains are expanding. Your minds are expanding. Of course, the brain does not expand to some degree, but it can do. But, of course, it is the mind that is expanding. When your mind expands and you look at many different directions and angles, then you find your answers, you see. It's not that it is physically splitting. You see, your planet is not going to combust and split. I know this may sound exciting, but it's not going to happen to some degree. The conversations that each of you have on your planet is diverse and very different at times, you see. You might have a conversation with somebody that has no idea about the concept of being psychic or a medium or channeling or trance, or even aware of the spiritual side or the spiritual energy, you see. There's always been this energy on your planet of spirituality, energy. We like this word energy, spiritual energy on your planet. It is just that it has been masked for so many years, you see. Going back in time, you see, if you create religions and other cultures, and yes, you've heard this from us before, it then segregates each and every one of you. There are many teachers before that would sit together and to discuss on your planet. There are many scholars, you see, that used to discuss this information. But see, we are aware of you personally that you have learnt so much more information, and you personally that if you spoke to others who are not aware of energies, they would not understand you at all. They would be stuck in a 3D world of the reality, thinking that life is just about working, just about earning a salary, a wage, to live in one of your boxes, and to feel that it is only to have children and to live a life and then to die. But of course, many of you are aware of the energy on your planet now, that you are shifting your intelligence level. And great fun, and we tune into your energy. Great fun. We are aware that you are shifting your energy. So multiverse to some degree, the multi-dimensions of yourself. You see, the minute you become interested in other energies and other areas of space and everything else around and other realities, you start to observe the world very differently. The quantum fields as such, as when you start to discover about the quantum fields and the quantum energy and the quantum theory and the relativity of that you become the observer of that, then you become aware of the world, how different it is. You see, this is where you've moved and you have shifted into gear as such. We use the word shifted into gear as it's easier to explain. So when you hear about the individuals that are putting information about how the world is splitting, the energy is splitting, not the actual core base of the planet. No, this would be impossible to some degree unless you have your nuclear war, which we are aware of. And hopefully this does not happen, because there are many of your energies on the earth that are open now to discussions. You see, you have to push so far in the human race that the individuals will say, no, stop. It's like the game of chicken. You know, the two cars that come head on head, and one of them has to give in to surrender. So you have a lot of leaders on your planet at the moment where their egos are quite big, you know. So until they are faced with the end of the world, they are still arguing and fighting like toddlers who are throwing their toys out of a pram as such. But we are observing, we are aware, this has existed in many lifetimes, we are aware of the human race. So the shifting from 3D to 5D, there is many more. There's many more dimensions than just the fifth, you see. Some will be left behind in the 3D world, but there will be a minimum amount. The percentage will be lower than what it is now. But many of you will become aware. Now, also something to point out, you see. there is also, you look at your social media and the restrictions that you are having and applying on your social medias right now. Well, you see, we're not restricting you. It's individuals. You see, the more knowledge that you know, your energy shifts and the more dimensions you move into. Now, it is a bit like, we have explained this before, we've used this example of Sonic the Hedgehog or Pac-Man. It's different levels and layers. It doesn't mean you're any better than anyone else. It just means you're understanding, you see. It's like a child can only understand certain things, and then you grow and you go through certain times in your life. So there are many more of you coming together. You see, the more of you that come together, that speak up and change the energy of yourselves. You see, one of you may think, oh, I cannot change or shift the energy. Of course you may think like this. But if you remember, you are a collective of energy. So if you are shifting your mindset of what is happening on your planet, of how you see things, it's helping the energy on your planet, you see, and then you shift. Great fun, great question. I think we have answered. You are left behind in the 3D, that dimension of time and space. Does not mean they fall into a hole or a pot of boiling water. It just means they still live their life as in service, to be of service, the servants, in the sense of credit cards, earning the money, going to work 9 to 5, only having a break on their holiday days, maybe 2 weeks in a year. Those who think that they need to rely on medicines to survive, that's the hell. That's not the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is being more of the entrepreneur and seeing how life can be different, how living your life is different, waking up with the sunshine rather than doing then your shift works on your planet, you see. This was a good question. Now also, you have to see this as the person that you was originally, if we go back even 5 years to yourself, how you may have thought individually, and this is open to everyone in the audience. If you go back 5 years, how all of you may have felt, or before you had your awakening, or before you had some drama or trauma that's happened and to make you to rethink differently, you are a different person. And now that you have an understanding of how things work slightly different, it's like looking at the kettle and thinking, I want hot water, but don't know how to put the switch down. And the minute you know how to put the switch down and to even fill up the kettle of water, you can make your teas and your coffee, you see. So this moves you into the next dimension. So it's always about learning and evolution and evolving. And many of your humans on the planet tend to isolate themselves and make themselves small. They're too scared to step out of the norm, you see. So what have you got to lose? You have this one life. How exciting. We no longer have that opportunity here. I've passed now and don't have that opportunity. But if I could, I would come back. I help other scholars, and we also channel for other individuals to pass on the information. Of course we do. We are of necessary. We are helping. We are channeling the more information, of course. And sometimes I feel what it must feel like again, to feel, to smell, to hear the birds, to hear nature. So what gloriousness you have on your planet right now, that most of you are alive. Of course, we only jest. Of course, you are listening. You are alive. But what great fun you have to experiment, and to experience the experiment on your planet at this time. What great you came in. I've got, yeah, it was Einstein. Yes, well done. His hair. And he gave me that, there's a picture I've shared in the group sometimes, like brainwaves and everything. He was so excited. I could feel him moving around. And that was channeling, not sort of trance as such, but that was real channeling, as sort of mixture. I don't know what you'd call it, but maybe it's a bit of both. Who knows? That was a great question. He was really happy and really enjoying the question. He felt of purpose, of use again, to come in and to, you know, sit and have enjoyment with you all. So thank you for that. I love that. Brilliant. It's a real experiment. I love it.